to be starting our build of the Jaguar XJ220. If you watched the unboxing video, you would have known that the bodywork was in a strange multi-part system. After detaching it from the sprue, I use a sanding stick to rub away some of the joints with the sprue, and I do the same to the lower parts of the door, the bumpers as well. It's important not to do this too deep, as you don't want to create scratches that may show up after the paint. The rear section has quite a visible seam when it is put together, so I will later add some filler and sand it down when it's dry. Here I'm using the craft knife just to remove some of the larger parts. The tabs for the joins are quite large, so I was able to use a fair amount of contactor polycement from Revell to glue them together, and they fitted quite nicely. Unfortunately, they did leave some seams, so afterwards I went around with some Revell Plasto filler to try to fill some of those spaces in. Just doing a test fit before gluing it. Now I'm just using a little bit of Tamiya extra thin just to try to get rid of that seam as much as possible. Now I'm going to move on to building the engine. I started by spraying it with a light coat of Wilco primer just to help the paint adhere. The instructions are quite complicated and I need to be very careful that I'm doing things in the right place, but I start by clipping the engine block. I glue that together before painting it. Use a bit of Revell aluminium paint for the engine block, then move on to a wider brush to make sure I get into all of the little gaps. These sections will be hidden under the turbocharger, but it's still important to paint them. I referred to my walk-around video of the XJ220 to get the colours of the turbochargers correct. Here I'm using Revell flat black to do the pipes. I'll use a little bit of silver afterwards to add clips. I add a little bit of black Tamiya panel line accent to bring out the Jaguar and XJ220 markings on the side of the engine. Using a bit of tissue paper, I just wipe the excess off. It gives it a nice amount of depth. I primed the car with the Wilco primer and then had a look to see where the joins were a little more obvious and applied a bit of Revell putty. I smoothed it off with my finger and the craft knife, but I know that I'll have to sand it down a bit when it dries. I also took my clippers to remove the pinholes for the number plate at the front. I feel that it ruins the look of the car. Once I was happy that the car was prepped and ready for paint, I sprayed it with 4 coats of Wilco silver metallic paint. Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.